Hey boys and girls, it's Wednesday, it is comprehension time, and we've been learning about worms so far, and today I have another book to read to you with some information about worms, and at the end of it, you are going to write down something you learned about worms and share it with me. I'm not going to do it with you today, you're going to do it on your own, all right? This is called Garden Wigglers, Earthworms in Your Backyard. And it's by Nancy Lowen, and it's illustrated by Rick Peterson. So this is informational text. It has illustrations, but it's going to give us real information about a person, a place, or a thing. And the thing today it's giving us information about is worms. All right, here we go. Garden Wigglers. A wormy morning. It rained hard all night. Now it's morning. The sun is shining, the grass is green and glistening. But what's this? Look at all the earthworms on the sidewalks and driveways. What are they doing there? There they are. I'm sure you've seen that before. I know I have. Earthworms live in the ground. They make long, narrow tunnels called burrows. When the soil becomes too wet, the worms are in danger of drowning. They leave their burrows and go to the surface. The movement of the rain confuses them. The worms know that they should find a safe place, but they don't know where that is. Earthworms don't have lungs. We have lungs, and that's how we breathe. Earthworms don't have lungs. Their skin has to stay wet so that they can, that's how they breathe. So their skin has to stay wet. Whoops, I keep dropping my book. Silly me. Eating dirt. Let's take a closer look at this earthworm. Its body is made up of many ringed parts, or segments. I remember that from the other book, and that's one of the things we put on our chart the other day. Can you tell where the head is? It's hard to tell because the earthworm doesn't have eyes or ears. It does have a tiny mouth, though. If you watch the worm long enough, you'll be able to tell one end from the other. An earthworm can sense light, heat, moisture, and movement through its skin. So that earthworm's skin is really important. What do earthworms eat? Dirt. Actually, they eat the rotting bits of plants, bugs, and animals that are left in the dirt. An earthworm body takes the food out of the dirt it eats. It uses the food to grow and gets rid of the dirt. When the dirt comes out the other end, it's called a casting. In other words, worm poop. Worms don't have teeth. Like birds, they have gizzards. Bits of sand in the gizzard help grind up the food. So they don't even have teeth. So here's the dirt and the food go in and the castings come out. We talked about that the other day too. Nature's gardeners. Worm castings might sound gross, but they're actually very important in making healthy soil. Remember, soil is a fancy word for dirt. Castings provide nutrients that plants need to grow. See, it's very helpful. And that's not all. The earthworm's burrows let more air and water into the soil. Those tunnels that they're digging underneath, that lets water and air go into the soil. They keep the soil from getting hard. Earthworms aren't pests. They're nature's gardeners. 1 acre of good soil can hold more than 1 million earthworms. That's huge. So look at that. Worms are nature's gardeners. They're so awesome. They're so helpful. How worms move. Oh, cool. Watch that earthworm move. First, it stretches long and thin, reaching as far as it can go. Then it bunches up again, short and fat. And now it's long again. An earthworm has 2 kinds of muscles to help it move. Some muscles go in circles around the body, while others go from tip to tip. So some go this way, and some go round and round the body like this. An earthworm also has tiny invisible bristles called setae all over its body. These coarse hairs help the worm to move too. When an earthworm is not moving, the hairs are inside the worm's body. When the worm is moving, some of the bristles grab onto the ground while the others let go. I remember hearing that too. So see, it scrunches up and it stretches out to move, and it scrunches up and it stretches out. That's really cool. If you ever see a worm, watch it and see how it moves. Let's see, around the middle part of the earthworm is a thick ring called a clitellum. And that helps to make the cocoon, which holds the worm's eggs. After they have some eggs, there could be as many as 5 worms that come out of those cocoons. Okay, could be like 5 worms that come out of each cocoon, which is cool. Besides keeping the soil healthy, earthworms have another important job. They're part of the food chain. Birds, moles, shrews, and other animals eat worms. In many parts of the world, people eat worms too. People also use worms as bait for fishing. A small earthworm can live about 2 years if it isn't eaten. Larger earthworms usually live longer. On one of my walks one day, I saw a bird getting a worm out of the ground. It was crazy. And it was early, so it really was the early bird getting the worm. Wiggling back home. It's getting hotter now. The sidewalks and driveways are drying off. If the earthworm gets too dry, they won't be able to breathe. They'll die. How about giving them a helping hand? Put the earthworms back into the grass so they can crawl back into the soil. They've got very important work to do. All right, and that is the end. So now what we're going to do is you at home are going to get something to write on and something to write with, and you are going to show me something that you learned about earthworms today from our book. And I want you to figure out what it is, which one of those things did you really like about worms, and you're going to write it down and draw me a picture, and then try to use your sounds and spell out what you learned, okay? Just do the best you can, give it a try, and use your sounds. You've really been doing a wonderful job. I can't wait to see what you learned. Thanks, friends.